Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. We're talking about grace and space, how to give grace and space to people who disagree with us, and how to ask for grace and space from those who disagree with us. And it's important. And our model is how Jesus dealt with people. Last week I looked at some people from the Gospel of John, how Jesus had dealt with them. This week I've been looking at some folks through the Gospel of Mark. And so I'm going to read about when Jesus called Matthew or Levi. And in Mark chapter 2, verse 13, says, once again, Jesus went out beside the lake. A large crowd came to him, and he began to teach them. As he walked along, he saw Levi, son of Alphaeus, sitting at the tax collector's booth. Follow me, Jesus told him, and Levi got up and followed him. Now, we've been talking about how to deal with different types of folks. Matthew was a tax collector. Now, tax collectors were not well thought of in Jesus' day. They collected taxes for the Roman government. And that just galled the Jewish folks. They were considered traitors somewhat. And in fact, they were the worst because they were literally getting money from the Jewish people. The Roman Empire was very famous about taxing the people who lived in the conquered lands and where their occupying forces would be. They taxed them very heavily, so they didn't have to tax their own Roman citizens that lived in Rome. And this just galled the Jews. They didn't want the Romans there. They didn't want the Roman soldiers around. They didn't want their policing. But they got it, and they had to pay taxes for it. And some enterprising people, I guess, didn't see that as such a problem. Obviously, Matthew didn't. And somebody had to collect taxes, and Matthew did, and they were well paid for it. They got to pay for that, and they could even cheat the people. But something about Matthew, it says Jesus is walking, he's still in Capernaum. He's walking by the lake with a group of people, and then he walks by the tax booth. Those of you who've been to the Holy Land, some of the ruins that you have in the cities, the tax booths are still there. They're right there at the gates of the city when they come in. So they were taxing people coming in and out, I guess. But they were seeing the people and right there were collecting the taxes. Some of the cities you had to pay a tax to even get into the city. In Bethshan, I know that was the case there. But he's sitting there collecting taxes. And obviously, I don't know if Jesus and he's had a conversation. I don't know if he's been part of the crowd. It doesn't say. But it just says that Jesus looks at him and says, won't you get up and come follow me? And he does. And this is something that I think that is kind of interesting. Obviously, Matthew doesn't have the same view of the Romans that the Jewish leaders would have, the Jewish religious folks would have. Their thing was that you shouldn't do anything to help Rome. And yet, Matthew has no problem working for the Romans, being part of that. So you see some people with some disagreements. But Jesus calls Matthew. Now, in today's society, I think one of the things we've got to get over, and I mean we need to get over it fast, is that we need to realize that there are Christ followers who are Republicans, there are Christ followers that are Democrats, there are Christ followers that are Libertarians. We can't judge people by that. I remember when I was in seminary, there was a guy from Central America. He was a very strong believer, but he also believed in Marxism, and he believed in socialism, and he believed that that was going to be the answer for Central America, part of that liberation theology thing that was going on. And I remember he and I had many conversations about that. And we disagreed very strongly about those politics, about what would be better for Central America. And of course, he lived there, so he had a little bit more idea than I, but I didn't think that Marxism would be good anywhere. And he did. And he thought that would be, that, his Christian principles fit that and all. And like I said, we disagreed very much on that. And yet, I couldn't deny that he was a very devout Christian. I mean, he read the Bible, he prayed, he helped the poor. And so he kind of broadened my mind out a little bit too. And I think in this day and time, we're going to have to broaden out too. We're going to have to give grace and space to those that disagree with us. And we're going to have to ask for grace and space back. That, hey, okay, I'll give you grace and space to believe in your beliefs, but I also need that for myself because I'm not going to compromise what I believe either. And I think that's important. And we see that in Jesus' own disciples. I mentioned Matthew, or Levi as he's referred to here in the Bible. And he also had a zealot, Simon the Zealot, who desired to kill the Romans for a while. So Jesus gets differing political parties to even be in his own disciples. And we can do that too. And I hope that we will always realize that following Jesus puts us above politics. It puts us above everything. It's a kingdom where the members are from all walks of life, all different races, all different tongues, all kinds of different beliefs. But when we share our belief in Jesus, we're brothers and sisters. And that's important. Tomorrow and Friday, I'm going to look at the Pharisees. There's a couple issues that happened with them. Jesus has a lot of encounters with Pharisees. I could probably do a whole series on just his encounters with Pharisees, but there's a couple in the second chapter of Mark and that we're going to look at and just talk about. And so we'll look at how Jesus deals with people who disagree with him religiously. And so I'll see you tomorrow, and have a blessed day.